So I'm just going to try this method of tear down. This is now with the macro lens on the camera. I've actually removed the display now, and we'll see how well we can slide the box. Yeah, it's not going to go too well, is it? There's the main processor, by the looks of it. Underneath there, a couple of crystals. On the right hand side you can see contact pads for the display. It's like in the middle on the right hand side, that's the sensor for switching the backlight on and off automatically. Then we come down, and then a few little resistors, a couple other components, and not much else underneath the actual display there really. Come up there, the top in the middle, there's two connections I had to desolder, which I think were just for the backlight. And then we screw down the board. Into a few more components. You can see the switches for the function buttons. They're like an encapsulated. That's a spring steel cover over the top. That gives the button its return spring. And then coming down the board a little bit more, start to come into the input circuit, and then the actual jacks for the input. So there's a gas discharge tube there in the middle, along with a diode. A little bit out of focus. Can we focus a bit better? No, not that way. Coming across, not much componentry on this side. PTC there down in between the two input jacks. Strangely enough, they appear to be covered up, and these I've not seen PTCs covered up before. Seen MOVs covered up, but not a PTC. So we'll flip him over and have a look at the other side. There you can see. So a bit more on this side of the board. You can see where the input jacks are soldered onto that small little additional board there, and at the top of the, so at the top in the middle, that's the decade resistors taking off of, that will be the insulation and voltage measurement side there, and then there's a very similar setup on the resistance side, continuity side. On the other side, fuse in there, another MOSFET I believe there, and then you've got, if we can go down, there you've got the function switch tracks there. I thought they were gold plated, but I don't think they are, but they have been quite nicely identified. It looks like there's common contacts on the left there, and then the individual functions over on the right hand side. And then we move around a little bit more onto the rest of the circuitry now. Come across onto the top of the board. Another main chip there. I'm going to try and level them up. There we go. And there's the buzzer. Ooh. A couple more, one MOSFET driver there, and there is the HV transformer out of focus. So let's try. Yeah, there we go. Bring him into focus a little bit more, and send the rest out of focus. So that's the pulse transformer for reducing high voltage, and then we come back down again. Some more circuitry. No. See if we can get that in. Yeah, a bit more in focus. So I presume that's all the driver circuitry and measurement circuitry there. As you can tell, electronics is not my thing. More focus. focus. Yeah, not sure a macro lens is the best idea for this now. And then coming down, there's the kind of make out the battery contact there, and the spring that touches the MF shielding, and then the other battery contact. And that's pretty much what's inside. Okay, very briefly what I've been able to trace out of the input circuitry of the IIT1500 voltage and insulation input terminal. You've got two PTCs in series across one of the gas discharge tubes, comes out to the common. The other side goes off through the decade resistors and onto a transistor arrangement. Looks like it could be some sort of clamping circuit there, and it also feeds into the function switch. And the actual insulation side of this looks to be driven from this circuit here, with a diode to prevent backfeed, another gas discharge tube, and the actual MOSFET itself will take the output from the high voltage transformer and switches it on to the output terminal. And then on this side you've got the continuity and ohms arrangement, the fuse there that will protect this function only via the resistor there, another set of decade resistors down on this side, and another transistor arrangement before it disappears off into the rest of the circuitry. You do have this diode arrangement as well that I may have made an error tracing that out, I'm not sure, and I'm not sure whether it does go to the ground plane. It just went to the big copper surface area on the meter by the looks of it. Just assumed that that was the ground plane, but that's all I've been able to trace out of the input circuitry. So that's the end of the review of this instrument. Thanks for watching it. I hope it's been useful to some people, and I'll see you again in the next video.